comebacks. They come in very many shapes and sizes. They come in places like sports, places like music, places like acting. A lot of people have done a lot of great comebacks, and I just decided to come on here and talk about a few of them, right? Some of my favorite. Let's get into it. Now, the first one is MF Doom. If you know anything about him, he's one of the most respected rappers the industry has ever seen, right? He was enigmatic. He managed to keep a certain air of mystery around himself, and it just made him into a legend. Not just that, he was a great rapper, but it wasn't always like that. Now, Daniel Dumile was born in London, England, right? And at a very young age, he ended up moving to New York, Long Island, right? At the third grade, he started DJing, literally started DJing at the third grade. His brother, Dilizingwe Dumile, or DJ Subrock, and Rodan, right, who would later be replaced by Onyx the Birthstone Kid. The next album they were supposed to release, The Black Bastards, it came with tragedy. That was because DJ Subrock got into an accident and he ended up dying. It was a huge blow to MF Doom. At that point, he was still known as Zevlov X. After that happened, the label they were signed to ended up dropping them. So you imagine all of that stuff going on. He just lost his brother, and then he just got dropped. I think he was homeless for a little bit. This was in an interview. He was literally the definition of being rock bottom. He had lost everything, right? And what happened next still remains one of my favorite comebacks of all time. He ended up rebranding himself from Zevlov X into MF Doom, right? He started wearing masks. He started shedding off aspects of his old personality and adopting this new personality. This other personality was inspired by a villain from Marvel Comics. His name is Victor Von Doom, right, or Dr. Doom. He started releasing music, and the album that he released that got him a good amount of traction was Operation Doomsday, right? And the rest was history. The reason why I like this comeback so much is because he lost everything and he had every reason to not want to be associated with hip hop ever again. You could understand that, right? After he lost his brother, the label he was in ended up just dropping him, which is pretty depressing. So that's why I love this so much. He ended up taking over the hip hop industry, not kind of the mainstream, more of the underground. But he is respected by a lot of rappers that you know. He is respected. He is considered one of the greatest of all time by a lot of rappers that you consider the greatest rapper of all time. And that's really something not a lot of people can say, and that makes this so good of a comeback. On to the next one, Robert Downey Jr. Now, with Robert Downey Jr., his dad was an actor, right? He ended up getting a lot of early experience with film. He would end up getting minor roles here and there. He ended up joining Stage Door Manor at 12, right? But this wouldn't last long because he ended up moving to California at 13. A couple of years later, he ended up joining college, but he ended up quitting because he wanted to focus on acting. And his big break came when he won an Academy Award alongside Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks. And he would continue to star in a lot of major roles during his 20s and 30s. But underneath all of this, he was struggling. He was addicted to coke, he was addicted to alcohol, which ended up getting him arrested multiple times. After he got into rehab and got clean, he got into a lot of major roles like Gothica and Zodiac. In 2008, he starred in Iron Man, as we all know, and he became the star that we all know today.
I am Iron Man.
And the reason why I love this comeback so much is because stuff like alcohol, coke, it destroys people's lives, right? It leaves them as a shell of their former selves. Now, any person that's able to do that and just go from arrested to starring in one of the biggest films in Marvel history, it makes me feel like, if you focus on something hard enough, it will happen, right? And that's what I get out of his story. That's why I love his comeback so much, right? Another thing that I like is during an interview with Joe Rogan, he was talking about there's been multiple Spider-Man, there's been multiple Flash, there's been multiple Superman, there's been multiple people playing a certain character, but since 2008 they stuck with him, and that shows how much Marvel trusted in him, and that makes this one of my favorite comebacks of all time. A third one I wanted to talk about was Ke Huy Quan. Let's hope I did not butcher that name, but the reason I love this comeback so much is because this guy was literally a refugee for a year, right? He was a legit refugee, and he ended up moving to California, which got him his first role, and after that, many years later, he ended up winning an Oscar. When you're in a certain environment, certain thoughts that you have in your head, they get killed, right? You very quickly understand that certain things, certain dreams that you may have may be impossible, right? You may be in a country that you think is not conducive for the dreams that you have. You may be in a place that you don't think really realistically you could achieve something that you want to achieve. He was an outsider, and he ended up coming in and taking over and winning the most prestigious award in the whole of acting, right? You win a fucking Oscar, no one's telling you shit, right? And that's what I take from this story. This comeback makes me understand that the place that you come from, it can sometimes be a hindrance, but it just makes for a better come up and comeback story. Other than that, if you guys have any others, tell me about them in the comments. We'll talk about it in the next video. I plan to do a part 2. Tell me about them, like legit, I want to know. Which are your favorite comeback stories? It could be anywhere, acting, sports, anywhere, literally anywhere. It could be music, it could be a game that it could be anything. Tell me about it in the comments. We'll talk about it in the next video. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Peace.